I'm going to do a few problems with addition and subtraction using the standard algorithm that you grew up on. I'll use different language though, and it's going to be with different bases. So the first one here, we're working in base 5. Hopefully you notice something with this problem because this is a bad problem. It's written poorly because we can't have a 6 in any of the place values. The only digits we could have in base 5 would be 0, 1, 2, 3, up to 4, always one less than the base, because if I get a 5, we regroup to the next place value. So I will change this. Let's make it a 3. Now, in base 5, I'm thinking regroup 5s. So when I add 3 and 4 in the ones place, I get 7. 7 is a group of 5 with 2 left over. So I regroup this. So there's 2 here, and then I get this 5 becomes 1 in the 5 slot. So I have 8 here in the 5s, the 5 to the first. Excuse me. So an 8 becomes a 5 plus 3, and I'm going to regroup these 5 5s become 1 in the 5 to the second power. So that's 5 times 5 is 25 is 5 squared. Well, I add in the 5 squareds, I get 5, 6, 7. Well, I already know that's a 2, and then I'm going to regroup one more into the next place value system. So that's our final answer, 1, 2, 3, 2, base 5. Base 3. Now I'm thinking regroup 3s. Do you see how I'm using different words? Remember the old word carry? In base 10, when you did something like 9 plus 8, you got 17, so you did a 7, and then you carried the 1. Well, now we're thinking regrouping because it's not so easy to carry a 1. We don't carry a 1 because it's really not ones. It's groups of 3 in this case. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. Don't have to do anything. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 is one group of 3 plus 1. Excuse me, I don't know what happened there. Oh, got to watch where my hand hits. So this becomes a 1, and I regroup that one group of 3. Now I add those up in the 3 squared slots. I have 5 of those, which is 2, and regroup at 3, because 5 is a group of 3 plus 2 left over. Okay, base 7. I'm thinking of regroup 7s. Five and 5 is 10. Well, 10 is going to be a group of 7 with 3 left over. So I regroup the 7 into the 7 slot. 6 and 3 is 9. That's a group of 7 with 2 remaining. So that group of 7s, it's 7s times 7s. It's 1 into the 7 squared slot. And I get 7 plus 5 is 12. That's a 5 here, and then that 7 gets regrouped there. So it's 1, 5, 2, 3, base 7. Now I'm going to do some subtraction. Remember base 10, your language was this way. You would say, oh, I can't subtract 7 plus 3, so I have to borrow a 1, and you put it there. You put it in front of the 3 to make that 3 look like a 13, then you subtracted 6. Well, the reason this works is because this 1 that you borrowed was really a 10. Because it came from the 10 slot. So you could do that in base 10. You could just write the 1 here because it works in base 10, but it doesn't work that way in these other bases. Now the word you're going to hear me use is exchange. So when I see here with the algorithm, I can't subtract 3 from 2 in base 5, I'm going to exchange. I'm going to take one of these, but I'm taking it from the 5s. So this goes over as a group of 5. Unless it's not a plural. Now I can do what I normally do. 7 subtract 3 is 4. Well, I had this 1 in the 5 slot. Can't subtract 4 from 1. So I'm going to exchange from the 5 squared. But when I exchange it, it goes over as a group of 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. Subtract 4 is 2. And 3 subtract 2 is 1. So notice I'm really changing the language from borrow to exchange. So now in the second one, I'm going to exchange a group of 3 because it's base 3. So when I exchange this, that's one group of 3 in the 3 slot. It becomes 3 in the 1s. 3 subtract 2 is 1. Can't subtract 2 from 0. So I exchange another group of 3. 3 subtract 2 is 1. That's my answer. 1, 1, base 3. Base 7, I'm going to exchange groups of 7. So when I exchange, I'm exchanging a group of 7. 8 subtract 5 is 3. I need to exchange again. That goes into the 7 slot as a group of 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. Subtract 4 is 4. And I'm finished because 4 subtract 4 is 0. So the answer is 4, 3, base 7. So that's a quick video on using our standard algorithm with exchanging when we subtract, regrouping when we